Hello all! I'm going to be live with both Joe and Sally, and both are in England. And unfortunately, the both of them lost their husbands in April last year because of COVID. And well, we are going to talk about how they dealt with it, how they are doing right now, and I'm going to invite them.
Hey, Sally. How are you
Hi,
doing?
I'm okay. Hiya.
And there's Joe. I thought you would be in front of the same camera.
No, we'll do it.
Oh,
Oh, come on. Yeah, because it's really.
thank you.
Sit next to me. Come sit next to me. I'm coming. Come and sit next to me. Sorry about that. Do you like my hair?
Yeah, I do. I do. And it's almost the same color.
Yeah.
Sorry,
It's
Gracie.
really. It's. I feel so much better. I
Yeah,
was
you
fed up
do.
with blonde.
Come on, darling. Look.
What's your natural hair color?
It's like a dark brown.
Okay.
I'm sit here.
Gracie, stop it.
Right, here we go.
Hiya.
This is
Hi there.
Sally.
Hi.
This is my
Hi,
bestie,
Sally.
my best friend, Sally.
Yeah. Well, I'm Lexi. So nice to meet you.
And you?
Why is the volume so low?
I don't know, it's your phone.
Yeah, it's really low.
Do I need to talk louder or?
Can you turn?
Is your volume up loud?
I don't know. My
Oh,
volume.
Shall I do?
Yeah. My
try
volume.
your phone. Try your phone. Mine's really low for some reason. It's just a bit low. If I come off mine,
Mine's better.
yours better.
How can I go back on?
Come and
Sorry,
sit
ladies
next.
and gents, startup problems.
Okay.
Do I need to talk loud? Well, people already like your hair. Okay, that's good that you can hear us.
Is that better?
Is that better?
Hi there.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I have you twice.
That's it.
She's coming
That's
off.
better.
She's off.
Okay. Nice.
Newbie for me.
Okay. Well, hello, two lovely
Hi.
ladies.
Hello.
Yes, they are back. We needed to have all of them again. So, okay, so where do you want to start? Because do you have like yearly reunions? How does that work?
What it is, we both celebrating its 18 months in a next week that we both lost our husbands, and there was this. I lost Keith on the 12th, and Sally lost her husband on the 14th of April 2020. So obviously this is how we became friends, and we're just like inseparable now. We do so much together. We've bonded so much, and it's amazing that our friendship has become so tight that we really are close. We've really bonded really well, and we do so much together in memory of our husbands. And it's, you know, it's just nice that I have her and she has me.
Yeah.
Because where we both know what grieving is like, we've both been through the same thing. So it's nice to actually have that help with each other. So if I'm really feeling low, I will contact Sally.
Sorry. Hold on a minute.
Oh, ready?
So we have someone here on the chat who said that he or she lost her dad 18 months ago.
Yeah,
On the
that's my
18th.
friend. That's my friend Coral. She's another one who I made friends with. Coral's lovely. She lost her dad, and we all became friends on Facebook. because Sally done a page, what was it called?
It's COVID widows.
COVID widows, for those that lost their husbands or lost their wives. And this is how we all met. And it's just amazing because we have each other, all of us. And it's nice to have that friendship that when I'm feeling low, I can contact Sally or Coral or my friend Sue and Helen and that. And Maureen. And if we're all, and Connie, and if we're all feeling low, we'll call each other and say, oh, I'm really having a bad day. You know, like, oh, this happened.
We all tend to have it at the same time as well.
Yeah, and we all
really
sort of go on like what you're doing now, and we all chat. And within an hour, we're all laughing with each other. So it sort of brings up our spirits to each other. We help each other. And it's so nice to have that, because I don't think I would have been able to cope as well if I didn't have like the likes of Sally. But Sally is my God, she's my angel. Do you know what I mean? She's been absolutely amazing. And I come to hers and we do things together. Like we went out tonight and celebrated, because next week it would have been 18 months since we lost our husbands.
And it was just my husband's birthday as well.
Yeah, and it was her husband's birthday recently. And it's coming up to her wedding anniversary. She was only married for 4 months and he died.
Oh, wow.
So it was really, really hard for her. You can tell your story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
so Cole is telling us that Sue and Helen are fabulous too.
yeah.
So,
Oh, she's lovely.
Yeah.
I love my little Coral. She's my little goth friend. She's so amazing. She's lovely. She's so adorable. She's so little. And she only looks about 18. She's 46, I think. But she only looks 18. She's so
just me.
Yeah, she's so lovely. And she's so and she lost her mum to cancer as well this year, which was hard because she lost her dad to COVID.
We went to the funeral, didn't we?
Yeah, we went to her mum's funeral, and it was hard for her because she's got no siblings. She's got no family. So we're her family. She's coming to mine for Christmas because I don't want her being on her own.
Yeah,
so she's spending Christmas with me because, you know, she deserves to have a Christmas, not alone. And I said, no way, you're not going to be alone. You're going to come stay with me. You're going to spend Christmas with me and my family because I don't want her on her own. There's no way. She doesn't deserve that. That's not fair. And it's going to be hard for her.
That's why I started doing a series of videos for people who would be alone during Christmas.
Yeah.
But I still don't know if you would like to hear a Christmas story, like I share something every day, or if it would be about giving tips and tricks on video.
Yeah.
So,
I was telling Sally about all your videos you do, and like all different, and I made a lovely friend from Texas, which is absolutely a diamond man, and he suffers with borderline schizophrenia and he has depression. And I've made so many nice people through you as well by doing your live videos, and the friends from China and Korea. I think it was a Korean? Japan, that's it. Yeah. And they're lovely ladies, and it's so nice because it's by you doing this as well, it's showing people what other things that actually go on, like mental health, losing, bereavement, and it's such a good job that you do as well, because by you doing this, it's helping others to let their stories out. And this is what I was explaining to her, and I said, look, we need to do a live with you because what you do is so amazing, and I love you so much for that.
Aww.
And I've really made good friends with you, and it's all through Jason, obviously, Jason Begay, being a fan of Jason Begay, and you know, and I've made so many amazing friends. But I'm going to let Sally tell you a bit about her story, so you can ask her the questions.
So Cole is actually saying global support is so wonderful, and just before Sally, just before you tell your story, something coincidental, funny. This month is the month of gratitude.
Yeah.
And the lady who's on Facebook, the Jason McGay Loyal Fans, if correct, she sent me the link to that short movie, Needs, which
Yeah.
basically is about gratitude. And I was
Yeah.
looking at it and I was like, okay, so we've just been a couple of days in the month about gratitude. I started doing a video about it. I want to do a handout, so people can think about it. And here is Jason McGay starring in something from 2010.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
And
seen it.
now
Yeah. Really good. Yeah.
at this day, I'm watching it, and I was watching it a couple of times because I was like, okay, what's this about? And then I read the text underneath, and I was like, oh, but this is about gratitude. That's
Yeah.
why he becomes aware of the importance of family. Yeah, and I don't know. Have you seen it, Joe? Yeah, you must have seen
Yes, I've seen it. I've actually got it as well. Yes, I've got everything of Jason, so I've got it very much.
I'm a newbie, I'm a novice, I'm a virgin to all of it.
She's a virgin to all of it. She's not a Jason Begay fan, so
Oh,
obviously,
you will
It
be.
means
You
I'm
will
not
be.
one.
no,
I just don't
no.
want.
I'm getting her into becoming a Jason fan. She will soon, because
He's
I am
lovely.
if you are.
If you show him that
so
one movie and you see him painting the lady's fingernails, and I was warned, prepare you, get Kleenex out there. And I was looking at it and I was like, wow, there's this guy and he's sitting on the deathbed of this lady and he's doing her fingernails. Oh wow, it was kind of special.
yeah,
Oh,
very. And that's what my daughter did with my mum, my stepmom, when she died. My daughter painted her nails when she died, because
That's so
she
sweet.
loved my daughter, my eldest daughter, who's 24, Taylor. She always loved her doing her nails, and so she painted her nails special for her. So when she was laid to rest, she had her nails done because she loved her doing her nails.
she loved him.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so
and
sweet.
it's
Well, my mom didn't know when she was going to pass away, which she eventually did on February 1st. But having her dressed up again
yeah,
and making her look like the version I knew her to be before it all deteriorated. That really,
and they look
I
so fresh, don't they? They look like little dolls when
yeah,
you see them, and it's like them reverted back, isn't it? To like their
yeah, it felt so
younger
good,
days. I don't know if you're up or you didn't get to see him, did you?
No.
See, I got to see Keith, and it didn't look like him. It was
No.
obviously like him when he was younger, where the stage I never knew him. And it was really weird because for me, it didn't look like him laying there. It was like someone totally different. It's like, whoa, this is not
I
different.
agree. But just
Totally
being
different.
able to see them in
Mm.
normal but also good looking clothes instead of the nightgown,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and the messed
yeah.
up hair and all that stuff. But okay, for the last time I'm going to give you your earrings and your necklace and she had this butterfly pin she used to wear, all that stuff. So but to you, Sally. So
Okay.
you were married for 4 months. Um,
Yeah, we
Going
had
further.
it was a bit of a whirlwind romance with me and my husband. Um, we met in March 2018 at my workplace, and I didn't even fancy him to start with. I thought he was too old for me, and but he just had this piercing blue eyes, and he was just so friendly. We just struck off a good friendship from day one, and the first day I lost an earring, and I never found it, and I've also now just lost another earring at home, and I still can't find it. So I've asked him to find it for me. Yeah, so that's how our friendship grew, and we were friends from the March till the December 2018. He then told me in the January 2019 that he was going to leave our workplace, and I then realised that I'm like, no, I can't work here without you because we've become so close. So we went out for a drink and he kissed me goodnight, and that was that. So from the end of January till March, we were inseparable. And we got engaged in the March and we got married in the December on my late brother's birthday. And April the 14th, I lost him to COVID.
Yeah, that's
It was so quick.
incomprehensible. Cole sends you hugs too, by the way. So, how quickly did it happen, and how did you say goodbye? Because Joe, I don't know how quickly it happened for you, but I remember that you told me that you had 10 minutes to say goodbye, and that was it, and your children weren't able to say goodbye to him.
That's right. Yeah.
So how long did each of you know from the moment that he got ill to the moment that he got to the hospital, intensive care, and then?
Can you tell yours?
For me, I had COVID first, quite bad, but I thought I had tonsillitis, so I had antibiotics as soon as I thought I had tonsillitis. And I had them for 7 days, for 3 times a day. And it took all of that time before I started to feel any relief. But I was out of breath, I couldn't breathe, but I didn't have a cough. And with that, my husband was looking after me. He wouldn't sleep in a separate room, because he said, like, we've only just got married. I'm not leaving you to suffer on your own. He then started to come down with it. Within 5 days of him coming down with it, within my 7, he was then bedbound. He collapsed in the bathroom. So I got him back to bed eventually. He had to crawl there because he wouldn't let me lift him or anything. I called the ambulance the first time. They said it's just his diabetes. He needs to eat. It wasn't. It was COVID. And then it was over a day later, because he really tried to eat and tried to get his strength back up. Then I called the ambulance again because he went back downhill in the evening. The ambulance came and took him away. I didn't get a chance to give him a kiss or anything goodbye. Just watched him get in the ambulance, hoping that he was going to come back home, thinking that the oxygen would work, because it did when they put it on him. He got in the hospital, had the mask on, and he was talking and he was feeling hungry and thirsty, which I thought was a good sign. They said it was a good sign, so they said no, he doesn't need to go on a ventilator. The next day, he deteriorated by the end of the day again. So then he went on the CPAP mask. He was on that for a day and a half. But my last conversation with my husband was him ringing me, asking to get the nurse for getting oxygen because he couldn't breathe. They kept telling me that he had a bell to ring, but he was ringing me. So I'm like, well, if he's ringing me, he hasn't got one. So they then rang me an hour later after they put the mask back on him and said he was going on the ventilator. So from him going into hospital was 2.5 days before he went on the ventilator, and then he died 6 days later.
Wow. So you were still recovering. He wanted to help you out because he didn't want to have you suffer alone. And as a result, he got it, but because he was a diabetic, it hit him extra hard. He couldn't eat, couldn't drink, so his health declined rapidly. That's one sad story, really. I'm giving you a virtual hug right now.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
yeah, they rang me 2 days prior to his death. They rang me a weekend before. He died on the Tuesday, and they rang me on the Saturday night and said that he's not going to make the night. So obviously we was in isolation, and it was strict isolation. It was full lockdown. and obviously I was on my own. We don't have any children, so I'm alone. So my sister came over. She said, I can't have you there on your own, knowing that this is obviously inevitable going to happen. So she came and stayed with me. So I had that for 48 hours, sorry. 48 hours of the phone calls of, yeah, he's turned the corner, he's getting better, then he wasn't, then he was, then he wasn't. But before he went on the ventilator, I asked if I could speak to him, and they said no. They said he didn't want to speak to me, but I don't know whether that was true or not, because we never spoke to each other. And then after that, I got the phone call to say that he's not going to last much longer. So I can have a video call to him, but he's still sedated. So my video call was him being out of it. I couldn't really see him very well because it wasn't like we can talk on the WhatsApp or anything like that. It weren't like that. It was must have been one of the old-fashioned things, I don't know. But I could hear all of the machines beeping and stuff in the background. His heart was racing, so I know he could hear me, because I had to keep putting the machine on silent when I was speaking to him. But I literally had 10 minutes, but that felt like a lifetime, because 10 minutes speaking to someone that you love, you've only just married and thought you'd have that future with, is hard to say goodbye. I didn't want to say goodbye, and I didn't want him to know that he was dying, and I didn't want him to know that I was suffering so much. So I just pretended that he was doing really well, and that he just needs to keep on the fight and stuff, and that they've managed to get me to be able to speak to him and stuff like that. And then I couldn't say anymore because there was nothing else I could say, because it was just gone. I couldn't say anymore. And then it took about 2.5 hours later before I got the phone call to say he had passed, and then it just felt like I died at the same time. I felt him die. I believe I felt him die, because half my body went really ice cold, and I was just waiting for that call to come through. And then once I got the call to say that he passed away, I wasn't allowed to see him. The funeral director that I had instructed had also said that I couldn't see him. They also said they wouldn't dress him. They also said I only had 1 day to put everything in the coffin that I wanted to put in. They also said I couldn't have the funeral that I wanted. So with that, I changed funeral director. And because it took so long for all of the process to happen, he was in the hospital for 2 weeks before the funeral parlour got him. But it took 3 weeks before the funeral, but no one was embalming in my area, so I never got to see him.
Wow. So basically, you went from not being able to say him goodbye when they picked him up from your house to not being able to speak to him and see him until those final hours where you only had like 10 minutes on a video call, no less. And he already was sedated. And then afterwards, not even a proper goodbye.
No.
Wow. How do you deal with such a thing?
I don't know. I mean, I've had a lot of support from my family and through all of the widows that I've met through the group that I started. But and I started that group because I was struggling, because I was so on my own, and I don't know how I survived. Every day is a challenge, and every day is another step towards another day. I had to change my life. I had to move because I couldn't stay in the house that I was in. It was my house that we lived in, but it held so much bad memories of me losing him, not through our relationship, but from me losing him, that every time I came home, if I went shopping and come home, it just brought it all back that he wasn't there. So I decided that I would do his wishes and our wishes that we was meant to be doing. Because before we got married, we was looking to relocate and move. So I did that. I relocated. I moved. I don't know how many miles away. I don't know anyone here, or I didn't know anyone here. I'm in the country now. I'm on the borders of Essex and Suffolk, and I lived in Kent. My family is still in Kent. All my friends that I had are still in Kent. I've met all the widows, but they're in Romford, which are closer to the Kent side. So I've had to rebuild my life here. So I've got a new house, and I've done it how I want it and how I would have done it if Trevor was here. So I've done it for the both of us. And I think by doing all of that, it's kept me focused on him being here with me. And then after I've done the house and everything else, I'm then left with just me again and no one here. So now I've had to go out and find friends, and I've managed to find, I've had more friends now than I've ever had in my life. Probably through tragedy, which is sad, but they've been really good to me because they've been there for me all this time as well. But
really bonded.
yeah, and obviously I've bonded really closely with Joe. We're really close. But I'm still here on my own, and I have to, and I'm used to that now. I'm used to being on my own, and sharing my space with someone, it would be really hard, I think. But I know my husband would want me to move forward and to be happy again, because he wanted to make me happy. And he did do that. He's given me everything up till now. He's still given me everything to give me a life that he promised. But how I got here, I don't know. And how I move forward, I still don't know. I just deal with every day.
One step at a time, every day, during the day.
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I hear from your story. And it sounds like you have Trevor with you 24/7.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's here. He's here with me all the time. I know he is. And
Spiritualist.
yeah.
We're very spiritualist. We've got like what are they called again?
Medium. My crystals.
Crystals. We got loads of crystals, and we do a lot of like medium stuff and everything, and it's nice.
Yeah, I can understand that that you want to make that contact. How is he doing? Does he know what's going on with me? So
Yeah, he does.
yeah.
I know he knows. He shows me a lot, and I've now got 7 cats, so I am now the cat.
That's the kitty comment.
Cat lady. Because they're company, and I don't think if I didn't have them, I don't know how I would have got here really either.
You got me.
Well, I know. I've got you.
You got me, and I'll help you through.
So Joe, just going quickly to you. How quickly did the process go for you? And how?
Well, on the Monday before the Good Friday, my husband was quite ill. He was being sick. He had a bit of a temperature, so I called the ambulance service. They came out, they took his temperature and everything, and they said, oh, it looks like he's got a bit of food poisoning. I was like, really? And they're like, yeah. Just see how he goes in the next few days. So I thought, okay. And on Good Friday, my eldest daughter, Taylor, she's 24, she came down and said, Mum, have you seen Dad? And I went, what do you mean? She went, he looks really grey. I went, what do you mean grey? She went, he just doesn't look right. So I went to see him and I went, are you okay? And he was breathing a bit difficult. And he's going, yeah, I'm fine. You know what men are like. They're very stubborn. And I'm like, no, you're not. And he's like, yeah, I'm good. So my neighbour, who lives 2 doors away, she's a nurse. So we called her out, and she said to my tailor, go in and watch him when he breathes. He needs to do 20 breaths in 60 seconds. She said, so when it goes, that's one breath. She went, okay then. She went, just count it. And she went in, and by the time she got to 35, he'd already done 55 breaths. She went out, she went, no, you need to call an ambulance. She said, his breathing's really bad. She said, that's not good. His oxygen level's really low. So I called the ambulance. They came, they took his oxygen. I said, yeah, it's dropped to 81, which is normally, it's got to be above, is it 95, weren't it? Is it 95,
97, 93 at least,
yeah.
97.
Yeah. And so they said, look, we're going to take him in, and, you know, we'll just check him over and see how he is. And just as I was getting in the chair, one of the paramedics came up to me. She went, look, she went, is that your youngest daughter? And I said, yes. She went, tell her to tell her dad she loves him. And I was like, really? And I'm thinking, why? You know, so I thought, well, but she always said it automatically anyway, so I didn't need to tell her, because it's an automatic reaction we do every day. We're on the phone. I love you, Mum. I love you too, darling. So she said, I love you, Dad. So he was taken away on an ambulance, and that evening, Good Friday, they rang me and said his oxygen levels come up to 91. So he's, you know, he's doing really good. He's had a sandwich, he's drinking. I thought, oh, that's really good news. She said he'll probably be home tomorrow. And I was like, yes, you know. And she said, what we're going to do is we're going to give him an X-ray tomorrow morning. She said, and then what we'll do is we'll contact you and let you know. So they rang me in the morning and said, well, we've done an X-ray and we'll let you know tomorrow evening. She said, ring back about 6 o'clock in the evening. This was a Saturday. She said, and we'll let you know how it goes. I went, okay, fine. And at 2:30 on the Saturday before the Easter Sunday, I get a phone call, and it was, I'm really sorry, but there's nothing more we can do for your husband. And I was like, what do you mean? I said, this morning they said he was fine, his oxygen's come up. She said, well, we did a scan and an X-ray. She said both of his lungs are completely full of COVID. They were collapsing. She said, because at that time, where we lost him in the early stages, the government had made a rule no one was to be resuscitated. So basically, if he stopped breathing, they had to leave him to die.
I argued that.
Yeah, me as well. But
I don't know whether
it was the rule, or, you know, the government had made, because so many people were dying, because we were in the first pandemic, the stage of it. So it was obviously so many going one after the other. And she said to me, she went, you live with your husband, don't you? And I said, yes, I do. She went, right. She said, you can come down for 10 minutes. And I was like, okay. She went, I said, well, what about my children? And she said, well, unfortunately, no, we can't have any children. And I went, but they've not spoke to their dad. They've not said goodbye to their dad. So what am I supposed to say to my kids? You know, and it was like, well, basically, this is all we can do. So I said, okay, then. She went, come down in half an hour. So I got off the phone and I had to explain to my kids that they couldn't see their dad. And that was so hard, because they just literally melted down. And I was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? It's like, they're not going to see their dad no more. They couldn't even say goodbye. They didn't say goodbye to their dad. Nothing. So I said, look, I need to go to the hospital. They said, please, can we come with you in the car? And I went, okay. The girls wanted to come with me. They didn't want me to go on my own. So off I goes to the hospital. This was about 2:30 in the afternoon, 3 o'clock. I gets to the hospital. I had to put a mask, like cover my body in a gown, gloves. And she said to me, you cannot touch him. You can't kiss him. You can't do anything like that. All I could do was hold his hand because I had gloves. I was like, okay, so I walked in there. He was alert. This is the hardest thing. He was awake. He was breathing obviously difficult, but he was alert. He knew exactly what was going on. So I thought, well, I can't cry because I need to be strong, because I don't want him to see me crying or getting upset. So that was hard, very hard. So I went in there and I was just talking to him, and he's trying to talk between the breaths, and he was telling me how much he loved the kids, and obviously, and he was proud of Ellen because she was mine and his daughter. My eldest two was his stepchildren, but he brought them up. And he was proud of like our granddaughter, you know, things like that. And the 10 minutes went so quick, and I had to go. And I thought, oh my God, I can't leave. How can I leave him to die on his own? But I had to go. And as I came out, I took all my stuff off, but in front of me was a square window, and I could see him, and he was looking directly at me. And I was like, oh my God, this is the last I'm going to see you. And I see one tear
I had that
trickle down his eyes.
Yeah.
And that haunts me even now. I still have nightmares. Sorry, I can't.
It's okay.
Take your time, Joe. Take your time.
I think that's where it's the difference. She just needs to brew in it. I think that's the difference with for me, is because I never got that. I did see a tear come down my husband's face, even though he was sedated.
So you knew. He knew. Even, but you tried to put that to be your best, not to show it, but he did know.
Yeah, and I think the problem is they all knew, and the fact, I think now it hurts us because the rules have changed so much. Everyone is allowed to go in and say goodbye. Everyone's allowed to go in and hold their husband's hand.
And we never. I
know.
did, but
I can never get past that. I can't say I know he's definitely gone, and then that's why it's hard. That's why I had to move away. I knew my husband had gone because I got his phone and his wedding ring and his wallet, and he would never be without any of them three things. So that's why I know he's not around. But I can't physically say I saw him, that he was the person that I had the funeral for, and that he was wearing everything that I put in the coffin.
Actually, it's more like a memorial service of some sort, like people losing their loved ones on a flight, on a crash.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to assume they're gone, but it was never, you couldn't touch him. So yeah, that must be very hard if it's not. Yeah, you didn't really get the chance to say goodbye. Group hug, by the way.
It's all right. She's been hugged. Don't worry. And she has that haunting image. And I know the other widows have their haunting images. And we all have different haunting images and different things because everyone was able to see their other halves, no matter how long for. And I hadn't had that long having a husband, and not getting to see him was really, it's really hard.
Yeah, because Joe actually got to see him and hold his hand, and you didn't get any of it.
Nothing. She didn't get nothing.
Nothing. I didn't.
She'd only been married 4 months. 4 months she'd been married, and it was just really horrible.
I never thought I would ever find a man that actually would marry me, and finding him was like, it was whirlwind romance and stuff. And we watched my wedding video today, didn't we? just so that she could see Trevor, so that she knew who he was.
Yeah, and it was such a lovely, you know, and just 4 months later, who would have known that he was going to die, you know?
Well, I do believe that for the both of you, I mean, Joe, you might have been married for like 20 years, but still, even if it's 4 months or 20 years, you
Doesn't
still
matter.
Exactly,
think,
it doesn't matter. Exactly,
yeah,
you still got
exactly.
that pain, and it's, you know, it's just really like, it's just hard for anyone. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of people that has gone through the same as us, and you know, and it's just like, why? Why did it happen? Where did it come from? Where did it start?
Well, I'm still getting
How?
new members every day on my group that I started. And I started it because I was so isolated and alone, and I thought I can't be the only widow here,
And that's how we
No.
became
Yeah.
friends, wasn't it?
stuck on their own, because I thought I can't be the only person who's got no children and who's just lost their life and their world. And now my members are over 628.
And they're all from around the world, all around the world,
yeah, everywhere.
America, Asia, everywhere, just everywhere.
Yeah.
Just,
And it's true. The both of you, of course, lost your husbands when it was in the early stages of
yeah.
Corona.
And there was no
COVID.
test either. You couldn't have a test
No.
like you
Yes.
do now.
Yeah.
And I do believe we got it from our workplace. Or well, I don't know if we both got it at the same time, because we both felt a bit rough. But I know I definitely come down hard first, but then I do with illnesses like that, like viruses and things. But if there was a test in place, or if they'd locked down sooner, it could have all been avoided. Well, for us anyway,
Yeah.
at that point of time. But I can't. I have to stop myself from.
That's the
Going
thing.
there.
We've got to stop ourselves from.
You can't relive
You
the
can't
past.
relive it and keep hating, like, because otherwise it just makes you angry and so angry, and it's got to a point where you've got to sort of think, well, it's happened. They say things happen for a reason, and it's so hard to explain, isn't it? How?
Yeah.
Well, you basically go around in circles if you keep like, what if
Exactly.
this or what if that, and
Exactly, and I don't want to live like that, and nor does she.
No.
We're still young. She's only in her 40s. She's still got life ahead of her. I'm 52. I've got life ahead of me. I need to get on. I need to live my life because I'm still young. And that's what our husbands would have wanted. They wouldn't want us to sit there crying constantly and feeling sorry, like, oh, I'm never going to get a life. I'm never going to meet anyone, or I'm never going to go out. But we've come to this point where we're like, well, no, they want us to carry on. They wouldn't
yeah,
want us
I
to
believe
be
that's true. That
They
would like
don't.
that.
They don't want that. But I'm stuck in a position at the moment. I'm still off work, our same workplace. So we met there. We work closely together. I was in service, he was in parts, and we was on the phone all the time doing work. We chatted all the time during work. We had lunch together, drove to work together, come home together. So
constantly together all the time.
yeah, we was inseparable, and I can't. I'm still having counselling. I struggle to. I've been back to work a few times to see them in the early stages, but it broke me every single time because
They
of
just
Yeah,
didn't
you
care,
go
did they?
from all to nothing, from
Yeah.
being together all the time, talking to one another all the time, and then there's silence, emptiness.
so
Exactly.
I do
was
hope you're
lucky.
reading what Cole says, by the way,
Yeah.
because she's
I'm-
sharing
I'm-
something too.
Yeah. Find something lovely we are having to support you. I was lucky. I had my children. I had my kids with me, where Sally didn't.
No,
She never
and
had children,
that's
so she
really
never had
going
that.
into silence.
Yeah, exactly. She had to go home to nothing. I had my kids. I had my granddaughter.
You
So
had to go on.
yeah, I had to go on. Whereas for her, it was more harder, And that's why when we became friends, I was like, well, no, well, you're not going to suffer alone. We need to do this together as a group. We talk and, you know, and we go out. I come down here and we go out and celebrate our husbands.
Yeah, everyone loves my new house.
She has a beautiful house, really, and it's so lovely and it's so welcoming and it's nice. And since she's moved there, it's really helped her.
Yeah, it's helped me. Yeah.
It's helped you so much, hasn't it? It's given you
So
that.
the workplace where you are, Sally, is that the same workplace where you met Trevor?
No,
Yeah.
you're not there.
Why
No.
it's so
I'm
hard?
still there.
Oh, you're still there?
Yeah, I'm still employed, but I'm still off sick, and I'm still having counselling because I still have long COVID. I've now
suffered a hell of a lot, haven't you?
I've got asthma now. I had an asthma attack a few weeks ago.
You was in hospital how many times?
I was here alone. I fought it all day long, didn't know what was going on, and couldn't breathe. Thought it was just, you know, asthma, taking my pumps when nothing was working. And it was only because I was on the phone to my mum at the time, and she said, you need to call someone. I don't like it. And because my family are like not around the corner anymore. So I did. I called the 111 and they sent the ambulance out. And he said, yeah, your sats are really bad. You're having an asthma attack, basically. I never had asthma.
Kind of scary.
I never had asthma before. And then I then found that I couldn't walk to the ambulance. I collapsed twice going to the ambulance. Then they put the mask on. And then I was sitting in the ambulance on my own with a mask on, and I had to relive.
I think that it was.
Yeah, it brought back memories.
Relive it. And then I was in hospital on my own with a mask on, thinking, am I going to die?
Yes,
and I said to the ambulance guy, I said, am I going to go and meet my husband? And he was like, no, not my watch. I was like, oh, really? Can you not just let me go now? Because I can't do it. I can't deal with it. But obviously I didn't. I'm still here. So yeah, now I'm left with the asthma, and I'm now left in turmoil of, I've got to get a job. I've got to go to work. I don't like going out.
Same as me. I don't like being in crowds now.
I can't face it.
My anxiety is terrible.
I just can't face being in loads of people. And my job that I do is public. So I don't know how I'm really meant to change and doing something different. I thought of doing...
You have a physical condition now, which isn't good. You don't have any energy at all. You're still mourning. Basically, what you're saying is, I can't really say goodbye to Trevor because I haven't been able to see it. No. And of course, being alone for such a long time, going back to a public place and being amongst people, that must be really hard. But just if only it was just one thing, it would already be hard. I mean, if you have no energy, I mean, I know other people who have long COVID and they tell me they still go to physical therapy. Just going out for grocery shopping is actually too hard, you know. And
when we go out shopping, isn't it?
There's the
shopping, it's
medication.
exhausting. Yeah, it's exhausting. Just to go shopping, it's exhausting. I go and I start panicking because there's people without masks on still. And I'm like, you know, we've got the new variant over here again.
Omicron.
So, and it's like, I go out, I have my mask, and then they're just walking around, and I'm like, really, what are you doing? You're not helping. You're not helping the situation. But they just do not see it because they've not lost anybody to it.
Yeah.
They don't see it as the way that we do. And I've had so many arguments on places on Facebook where people say, oh, it's all a hoax, they're scaremongering, it's all a hoax again. And I'm like, well, you tell that to my children who lost their dad to COVID, that they're scaremongering and that is just a government thing. I said, you tell it to all the millions of people around the world who have lost people to COVID. And I've lost my cousin as well last year in November to COVID.
Yeah,
And
it
he was
makes you
48.
so
He just
angry.
his wife had just had a baby. His baby son was 3 weeks old. He never got to know his son because he died. And I'm like, you're saying it's just a government whatever. And I'm like, why would you say that? Why would so many millions die around the world? I know we get the flu, which can kill old elderly people, which is common, which we do. It's normal, you know. But why would the government lie about thousands and thousands of people around the world dying? They're not going to lie. Why would they lie? It was live everywhere around the world. Look at Italy.
Well,
Italy was, oh my God.
But the thing was, we had our honeymoon in Venice in December.
Yeah, he was in Italy.
Because we got married on the 16th of December. And we was on honeymoon from the 17th through Christmas in December. And we came home and we was there when they had the flood in Venice, and then when they had the drought in Venice, we was there for all of that. We both felt ill when we was there.
Yeah.
And we felt ill when we come back. And we don't know that we hadn't had it when we was in
exactly, because
when we were there.
It happened, it spread from Italy because they was on the ship, wasn't they? There was some Chinese people on the ship, and obviously they came ill with COVID, and then it spread, and then Italy,
they said that already in December of 2019. It was
and
spreading.
Italy was covered with it. Italy was smothered, and you were there Christmas. Who knows?
I remember sitting with my husband. It's one of my last memories of sitting at home with him when we were still okay, watching it on the news, and that's when we had the mortal talk of what would happen if the worst should happen to either one of us, knowing full well that we're in the public eye and stuff. And we both said he said, I want to be cremated and I want to stay with you. And I'd said the same. And then we would have our ashes scattered, do whatever you want to us after that, but we want to be with each other.
Did you have that talk too, Joe?
Sorry?
Did you have that same talk with your husband?
Oh, yeah, well, Keith, when we sit, and he said to me, because I said to you, didn't I? When we spoke, he said to me, if I get this, it will kill me.
Trevor said the same. Because
he had asthma, and I was like, you're not going to get it. We're not going to get it over here. You see it. You never believe anything like that would happen. And I was like, don't be stupid. I said, you're not going to get it. You'll be fine. I said, we're not going to get it over here. We'll probably get a couple of cases like when we had Ebola. Ebola, is it? Ebola. Do you remember when Ebola come out?
Yeah.
And I said, it's going to be like Ebola. Everyone's going to panic. And it's just going to be a one-off. And, well, he was right because he got it and it killed him.
But you didn't have the conversation?
No.
That's what she was asking.
Yeah, no. The only conversation we had was he said, if I get it, I will die.
Yeah, I'm curious for a second. So Sally, you said there are like over 600 people from all over the world in your group now.
Yeah.
So from the ones who actually passed away, did all of them have like this illness, like being a diabetic, or were there also really healthy?
No. They've all basically. My group is set up for any grieving widow or family member to widows or whatever through somebody who's lost them to COVID. Is literally if you've lost someone to COVID.
Look at our friend Connie.
Yeah,
our friend Connie from Scotland. Her husband had no health issues. He was healthy, strong, fit man.
40s as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was really strong. very fit, always in the gym, always ate healthy. He got it, bang, killed him, just like that.
I think it's something to do with your blood.
Yeah, I think it's how you are. It's same as cancer.
Yeah,
Like
it's your DNA and your
some
makeup.
people can get cancer and it will kill them straight away, and then you've got people that have cancer. Like my mum is struggling with cancer at the moment. She's
Second
having
time.
chemo, was second time, yeah. And touch wood, it's slowly working. So I'm hoping that it's a good outcome. But it is like any illness. You've got those that unfortunately they will get an illness, it will kill them, bang, straight away. And then you've got those that have it and you're like, God, how did you fight that? Someone I know died instantly. It's like, well, how could that? But I think it is how your body is and how your genes are, whether they're
Well, the
strong
reason
enough
I'm
to fight.
asking is because I'm always surprised that there are so many people out there who say, I've never had the flu or only once, and
I never
so
get ill.
I'm
I'm never
healthy.
ill.
So
I always do.
I'm never ill.
if it,
I'm never ill.
if it, yeah.
But
So if it
I
doesn't
always get a virus. I always get a virus. It's bad.
She's always ill. Me,
Mhm.
I'm lucky if I get a cough or a cold every 5 years. I never get sickness. I never had a tummy bug.
Mhm.
I'm never ever ill.
I-
I might have the odd little sniffles, but that's about it. I'm never
So
ill.
did you contract COVID when your husband was ill, or your children, or?
Taylor had it,
Mhm.
my son had it, and Ellen. But Ellen had it again 6 weeks ago. But she was
Yeah.
really, wasn't she?
Mm.
She was in hospital
Mhm.
and back out again. And that was really scary because I was like, oh my God, I cannot lose
Yeah,
another.
just because you had it once doesn't mean you're safe.
Exactly. You've had it once,
Yeah.
she's had it twice. But I had it, I was ill for 2 days and that's it.
Yeah,
I was fine.
well, I'm
So
still
no
so.
long COVID for you as it is for Sally.
Not like her. No, she's really like
But-
Ellen's got long COVID. She suffers with a lot of headaches.
I think the reason I'm still here is because I thought I had tonsillitis, and because
the
I
antibiotics, because you took them antibiotics
Straight away.
If you hadn't have taken the antibiotics, I think it would have.
if I hadn't thought I had tonsillitis, if I hadn't looked at my throat because I couldn't swallow, it was so painful. I had tonsils and my husband didn't, so I don't know if that's a connection.
Mm. I've got no tonsils.
So you all have.
Yeah, I haven't.
Trevor hasn't. But I get tonsillitis really bad, so I couldn't swallow. It was really, really painful, and I'd have already felt rough for a couple of days before, but so had Trevor. But he never really get ill. He never really got ill, but I always did. And when I looked at my tonsils, it was like they weren't white spots; they was ulcers. But I said to the doctor, "I can see white spots. I think I've got tonsillitis." They weren't seeing you at the time to double check. They weren't doing COVID tests or anything, so there was no way of me knowing whether or not I did have it as such. So I had the antibiotics, and the reason I know I had the same antibiotics was because the Wednesday that my husband was put on the ventilator, I came down really bad, and I was on the phone to my doctors. I was speaking to my doctor quite a lot at that time, and I was also speaking to my sister. And my sister said, I don't like the way you're sounding, Sally. I can't really understand you. You're speaking different. You're slurring your words. You're not making sense. And I wasn't really with it. And then when my doctor rang me, because I spoke to him in the morning, he rang me back and he went, I need you to call an ambulance, Sally. Something's not right. By that time, my sister had already called the ambulance for me and they turned up. So, but that ambulance crew that I had that particular time, I should have made a complaint, but I didn't. I didn't have the energy. I wasn't in that right mind. But one ambulance man came in with all the COVID gear on because they knew I'd already told them husband's in with it, whatever. He came in, he went, you're just sympathising for your husband. Went out, took all of his COVID gear off and come back in.
Oh, one of you has to turn off the microphone.
Because where it is, go on my part because no one's following. Come off yours.
Oh,
On my phone.
Both of you can talk, but only one can have the microphone open.
Go
I
on.
don't know.
Okay. Right, you're right now.
Yeah, what's happening is the
No.
we had both
Yeah,
on the
but that's
camera
cool.
and also on the microphone. So that's what
No
you
one's
heard.
following me because I'm not popular.
There we go. Sorry, I've gone
Okay,
on
so
my
you can
one
both be
because
on
nobody's
screen.
watching.
You can both be on screen, but one has to mute the microphone.
Yeah, I've turned off Sally's because nobody's watching otherwise. Because I put a post up on my page, Jason, saying that I'm going live, and I just realised that I was on her phone.
Yes, that's true.
Oh God. All right. Oh well. Where was I?
You were talking about oh sorry, I got a little distracted too.
It's all right. I got a little bit deaf.
You were talking about how ill you were, and as a result, that you're probably still around.
Yeah. I am. And
how your sister called the ambulance too. That's what you talked about.
Yeah.
The ambulance.
Yeah, I do think because when I went in on the Wednesday, I got taken into the hospital eventually because the ambulance crew my sister forced them in. She said, "No, look, I know no one can be with me or anything like that. I need you to go in, Sally. I need you to be checked out," because they weren't doing COVID tests. And because because my doctor had said, "I need you to call an ambulance as well," I was like, okay, I don't really care. Like, take me in. My husband's on a ventilator. Just take me in, then I'll be with him. So they took me in. They dumped me in a COVID ward. And it was a dirty ward that the beds hadn't been cleaned or anything. They just shoved me in a corner on my own in a wheelchair. No tests, no nothing. No, nothing. And they left me there, and eventually they came round and they did an x-ray and they did a blood oxygen test, which was painful. And they went, "No, you're fine, you can go home." And I'm like, okay. But all the time I was there, I could hear them subscribing the same antibiotics I had been taking for 7 days prior to all these people, because it was just a COVID ward, to all these people that was having COVID. So I know from that had I not had them antibiotics, I would have probably been there with my husband, and I may not have been here now.
Yeah, Corey reacts. I'm not saying it correct. It's not it's Cole. The dirty. I was like, how is it possible? Dirty beds, all that stuff in a hospital of all places.
They hadn't cleaned. Well, they wasn't doing the sanitizing or anything like that they're doing now. When I went in, they were trying to segregate people. The A&E was still rife with loads of people, but because the ambulance crew that I had that particular day, neither of them wanted to treat me. Neither of them wanted to take me in. But one of them had that little bit of care, I suppose, because my sister was on the phone and saying, "No, you need to take her in. Her doctor's also told you to take her in. You need to take her in. She's not right. She's not normal. This isn't how my sister has been speaking all day long. She's lost her speech. She's..."
Well, basically, what you're describing is how scared people are of the unknown. What are we going to contract if we get in touch with you? Just recently, in the Netherlands, when the first plane came from the people from Africa, there were I believe 300 or 600 people. I'm not sure. There were 2 flights who arrived at the airport, and they said we were treated like cattle. Basically, they put us all together. We weren't allowed to leave. We weren't allowed to do anything. We didn't get anything to eat or drink for hours and hours and hours. And the testing was slow. And they said, and we couldn't keep any distance. So here we are, all together. no separation. What happened to the rules? So people were really, well, they were really bummed about it. And, well, actually, they were quite mad about it. And then, of course, once the tests were done, it was like, okay, you need to go in quarantine. And they actually placed people in a specific hotel instead of letting them go home.
Mm.
So, and I guess that's what you had to deal with, Sally, that people were scared and didn't know how is it being transferred. Because I remember reading during that time that they didn't know, was it airborne, was it through hands, was it through
Yeah. Mm.
speech? None of us knew, and that was the most
But
difficult
I
thing.
just thought that, I mean, that's the worst ambulance crew I've ever had in my life.
Yeah,
And I have
sure.
been, and I'm like, to go out and take all of your PPE off and come back in, I thought was wrong, disrespectful to me.
Absolutely.
And
I
and
agree.
and and everything, and you know, and I'm not laying there like wanting sympathy. I didn't want that. I just wanted them to leave me there. I didn't care if I died, because I'm about to lose my husband. I don't care, you know. I've only just married him.
Yeah.
And for him to do that was just like a kick in the teeth, really. And then when they took me in and then just left me there, and I'm like, well, hello, I am a person. I am
Yeah, you were
still
treated
breathing. I haven't died.
inhumanely. Yeah.
And then
And
when I
then
was
to
in there,
only,
they put me in the little cubicle that they hadn't sanitized, they hadn't cleaned it. So even if I hadn't had COVID, I would have got it then.
Yeah.
And they just left me there. And nobody come and checked for me.
yeah, that's horrible. That's horrible.
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think that as well. I mean, and a week after I lost my husband, I also had to go back into the same hospital for cancer checks, because I was already having checkups. I hadn't told my husband about it because I didn't want to worry him, because it was happening it was all kicking off. So I had to go back there the week after, exactly a week to the day of losing him. And that's
Wow.
when I had to pick up his belongings the same day.
That must have been really awkward is not the right sensation. It's worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, for moving and changing the area, the
done you
hospital,
the world good.
everything, it's, you know, I still have to deal with it. It's still with me. It doesn't leave you. But it's a bit easier. And as
Yeah.
time's got on, I mean, it's 18 months now, but and it doesn't feel that long. It still feels like yesterday, but I know it's coming up to 2 years, and I can't believe it's nearly 2 years since I spoke to my husband, let alone see him or anything. But, you know, it's been longer than that, if you count when I finally last saw him and kissed him and hugged him,
Yeah. So
because
who
I
has
couldn't.
helped you grieve? Who?
I don't know. Yeah, my friends and family. Friends and family have helped me, but because I've been here on my own, I think just being on my own, I've just had to. I just had to deal with it. There was no way around it. I couldn't escape it. I did get quite isolated. I did get quite very dark places a lot of the time. I still do sometimes, but they're less frequent now than they were. And I just have to think of what would my husband want me to do? How would he want me to carry on for us, for me, for the future? And
So if there's one positive thing which came out of all this misery, could you list one?
oh yeah, obviously it's Joe.
Oh, God.
I think it's made me a stronger person than I already was. I mean, everyone says how strong I am. I don't believe that anyway.
I know, they always say it to me.
You're
Strong.
But yeah, I think it's through. I think it's realizing who your actual friends are, because you do lose a lot of friends. You realize who is actually there for you and who can cope with grief and your grief. because it doesn't leave you. You still have it. You still want to talk about the person you lost, because you've lost that person for the rest of your life. They might not have done. It might not be a thought in their moments, but it is in our every moment. So we still need to relive them. We still need to talk about them, and we still need to grieve them, and we will do for the rest of our life. And whoever is in our life needs to accept that. And that's very hard for a lot of people to accept. So I have learned that. I've learned that not everybody is your friend, even if they say they are.
Oh God, yeah.
Even family, some family are as well.
Yeah.
You just. I think it just makes you. I think it's just made me a lot wiser, and a lot stronger in a lot of different ways than I thought. But I'm a lot more emotional, a lot more scared, a lot more freaked out by things, and it has made me a different person. I'm not the same as I was, and I certainly haven't got that twinkle in my eye that I had when I was with my husband. I died when he did, so
Yeah, part of you died. Yeah,
this
I
is,
get that.
you know, I'm left with the new me, what's left that was me, and the little bits that were always me is still there. I'm probably just a little bit more feisty, a bit more scary, and a little bit more don't take no shit.
Okay. Yeah. Well, you eventually get out stronger, but what you said, part of you died with him,
Yeah.
and you not having that sparkle yet back. Yeah, that yeah, I imagine. Well, no, I can't imagine it because I have never lost my spouse. So, but what struck me in both your stories, and please keep reading what Cole says because she's still sending messages to you, is you talk about um, feeling anxiety more. I don't know if you, prior to all this, had experienced anxiety, and Joe,
No, no,
you were talking about it too.
joke, yeah.
So,
What's that? Anxiety.
Yeah, no, I never, I don't feel that I've ever suffered with any of that before.
mhm.
I've suffered with anxiety and depression for a long time. I had a mental breakdown in 2020 because obviously I had a lot going on in my past. My sister was murdered. I lost my little boy. And I was in an abusive relationship for 3 years. I was hospitalised. I had broken jaw, broken ribs, black eye. I was, but to be fair, going through all that, even though I've had anxiety and depression, it's actually made me a stronger person,
Mhm.
if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It took a lot for me to deal with because obviously, as I said, I had an actual mental breakdown.
But you dealt with all of that, but this is harder than that.
Yeah, exactly. I've dealt with that, but losing my husband was the hardest because he was my soulmate, he was my best friend, and he was the love of my life.
Yeah.
It's like, and it was to something that has come from nowhere.
And it's still here.
Yeah, and it's still going on 18 months later, 2 years later. And it's like, I mean, like when you lose people to like a heart attack or cancer, or you learn to deal with that because it's an everyday, you hear it for years. Whereas this has come in from nowhere.
Yeah, it's
and
out of
just
the blue.
taken people so quick. I mean, as I said, my husband went in on Good Friday. He was gone Easter Sunday, and that's like 2 days. And it was
That's
so
probably it. It's the not being aware that something is going to happen.
exactly, yeah.
It's the unexpected. that's it. And I mean, with a heart attack, it can be unexpected too,
Exactly,
especially
yeah.
when there's cancer involved.
They've got
Yeah.
That's a whole different story,
Yeah,
of course.
there is lots of unexpected things, but when you get something like this,
it was unexpected, but it's in your face every day.
and it's like taken the world, not just one country, the world.
Yeah.
And I mean, the amount of thousands we've lost here. America, oh my God, they've lost, wow, I think they've lost triple what we have, because obviously being a big
Yeah,
country.
but there are like 328 million people living in the US.
Exactly. So, but they've lost a load all around the world. We've all lost thousands and thousands of people.
But one person is too many.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't have happened.
Oh, I'm sorry.
God, I thought I was drunk then. I was like, oh my God, where's my head gone? I know we've been out for a few bevies, but you know.
I'm at a friend's house. So the phone is leaning against the keyboard. And I'm trying to keep it up, you know, because it's not my place. And I'm trying to juggle with it. And so that's what's going on. That's why we're upside down. If I hear what you say, it's what's happening unexpectedly, and like Cole is saying, if someone sits and all of a sudden boom, it's gone.
Just affected so many people.
Yeah, but the combination with not being able to say to have a proper goodbye. So especially Sally, I don't know for Joe if it was the same for you, but what Sally was sharing with us, not being able to actually, you know, see
physically say, exactly, she couldn't go to see him, where I could with my husband, even though it was only 10 minutes, but it was precious.
Yeah, but also afterwards. So not only seeing him physically, of course, that made all the difference as opposed to on the screen. And of course, he was around. He was awake. Whereas
that's where it was hard.
He wasn't.
Exactly, that's what was hard, because where he was physically awake, like us now, talking, and
Trevor would have been in pieces. I'm glad he was sedated.
I was like, and he looked so well. I've not seen him look so good in a long time.
That's because he wasn't going to have long left.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what was hard, because I looked at him and went, oh my God, you look so well. You look so handsome. And I'm like, oh my God, you look 10 years younger. And it was like how we first met. And it's,
sorry, he's talking.
Yeah. And like,
can he be rude?
Yeah, very rude. And it's like, I'm like, that's, how can he be dying? Because he looks so well.
It's so tricky.
Yeah. And obviously, this was about 4 o'clock Saturday, and he died at 4 a.m. on Easter Sunday. They rang me at 4:30 a.m. Easter Sunday to tell me he had passed. And I'm like,
I was dreading that call.
oh my God, yeah, it's
that call, waiting for that call for
I could not sleep.
Hours.
My daughter Ellen, she was 15 at the time, she was laying next to me downstairs on the sofa, because I just knew in my head I was going to get that call. I couldn't sleep, so I was literally sitting there and thinking, right, I'm not going to sleep, I'm going to sit here, I just know I'm going to get a phone call, I know I'm going to get a phone call. And bang on 4:30 my phone rang, and I knew straight away that it was the hospital to say that he'd passed.
I still don't want to believe it. I screamed the house down.
I didn't. Ellen screamed. My daughter's just literally, well,
what was the same?
Because as soon as the phone rang, she woke up, and to watch your 15-year-old child break down like that, that was even harder because she struggled with her mental health. The past year, she was self-harming because that's the only way she could cope. She was a daddy's girl and she adored her dad, absolutely loved her dad to pieces. He was her rock. He was there. Daddy always supported her. Daddy was there if she needed something. Daddy was there, like, you know, and she's always been, all my children have always said, when we're on conversation on the phone or whatever, I love you, Mum, I love you, Dad. Always, like, you know, so polite and always says, I love you. Even now, to me, when I ring, no matter where they are, I love you, Mum. That's what we get. And for her to lose her dad, that was the hardest, to watch her go through what she went through. And she was suicidal as well. And that, to watch your 15-year-old child, whether it's a son or daughter, go through that, that was the most hardest thing I could ever deal with.
Is it not reported that it's been the highest suicidal deaths now?
Yep. I had to hide sharp objects. I had to put everything out the way because I had this fear of going upstairs and finding her dead.
My sister and my nieces made sure, and my friends made sure that there was no pills that I could take to try and take my life. And my sister made sure she stayed with me for the first 2 weeks because she said, I can't, you know, I can't have that. I can't have you going as well. And then my nieces are trying to keep me going and everything else. But I was like, well, all I'll do is I'll just wait until you go. I'll
yes,
just wait.
Coral.
Yeah. If you want to, you always find a way. That's,
but I couldn't do that to my parents because we already lost my brother to suicide.
That's like, I think that's like with Ellen, it got to a point where eventually when she was self-harming, she told my eldest daughter, and which was good because she opened up. And then my eldest daughter said, look, we'll go down and you need to tell Mum. She said, don't be scared, because she thought that I was going to, oh my God, what are you doing? You know. And I was like, don't be scared. Don't worry. At the end of the day, that's your mental health. That's the only way you could cope, by doing that. I said, but I'm here. You've got your sister. And touch wood, since she's been having counselling, she's really, isn't she? And crystals. We've got her into crystals. She's really, really, really into crystals. And it has helped her so much. Really, isn't she? She's really coming out of herself. She's so much happier. She's in college. She's doing the things she loves. She's enjoying things. And I'm so happy to see my daughter. Thank you, Coral. Yes, she is doing well. And you've helped her for a lot of that as well, darling. You have helped a lot of her. She loves you too. And Sue. And Sally. Well, Sally's our rock. And it's nice to see now when she's depressed, she will come and talk to me and tell me how she's feeling, what she's feeling. And it's so good that she's doing that now. She knows she can speak
That's
to
what
people.
I think it's made aware that, you know, how much it affects your mental health.
Yeah, mental health. This is what annoys me
really
with this country.
A lot of mental health.
Considering she was 15 at the time, we had no help. We was offered no help.
We still haven't got any help.
No, we have to do it all ourselves. And I literally had to fight to get my daughter the mental health. I couldn't afford to pay for it.
It took my company a year before they gave me any counselling.
Yeah, and I'm still waiting for mine. I've still not had mine. I'm still waiting. 18 months later.
Yeah, mental health is very underestimated. How important it is.
Exactly.
At least you have a community around you You
Oh,
have
I
to
mean,
support by
this is
talking
this
to
is the
people
thing.
that's
Without
suffering.
exactly without her page, I would never have met none of these lovely
Yeah.
ladies, you know. And it's nice because when we're all feeling down, we all miss each other. Then we'll talk and we'll meet up. I go to London a lot with Coral, who's ickle pingle. That's Coral. We go to London a lot, and with my friend Sue, and
I don't, because I've moved away.
no, she's too far away. This one, so I come to her.
Mhm.
So had I stayed where I
come and
was, I could have gone to the London
Yes.
stuff.
But I come to her for weekends with Ellen, and it's nice because we can sit, we can talk, we can relax, and we'll talk about our loved ones and what we did. And like,
Because I'm in the country, you see, so it's nice health and healing and
yes,
countryside.
it's very countryside. It's beautiful. It's
So
absolutely
you're welcome
lovely.
over anytime.
Yeah, you have to come
Okay,
over
thank
here.
you.
I know
Will
you'll.
do.
It's like the perfect B&B here, honestly.
You would love it.
Oh, then we do
Come
a
here.
live from
3-bedroom house for one person.
Yes, you can come and stay. When you come to England, we'll meet you at the station. You come and stay here. We'll give you the time of your life, love. We'll have a good time together. Us three would be mad.
Oh, God.
I could imagine it. Yeah. I can imagine it.
Yeah.
It'd be definitely have a Jason Begay night, wouldn't it?
Oh, you could be a thing or two, you two, aren't you?
Oh, yes.
Then we get Sally to appreciate him too.
Oh, I appreciate him. You show me the pictures. I'm like, wow, yeah, I would.
Yeah, Cole also says she wants to come and visit.
Yes. Yeah, she's
Well,
going to
she's
come with
already
me next time.
invited.
Yeah,
so
next time I come down, Coral, you're coming with me.
Yeah, well, if Coral, if she comes on her own, you can stay in the bed with her if you really want.
Oh, you want to sleep with me, Coral?
Or you can stay in Trevor's room because Trevor has his own room.
Prosecco all round. Actually, talking of Prosecco, this is to our husbands.
Cheers.
Well, cheers. I'm going to.
Yeah, this is to our lovely husbands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, at least there's some laughter. So that's
Yeah.
That's good.
This is the
But
thing,
it's
isn't
so
it?
It's so important to talk about it and share your story and what you're telling about your daughter. You know, the self-harming, the automutilation.
Yeah.
It's very common actually amongst young people.
It is now. It's the way of coping with the pain.
But
Getting
I
numb.
also think, saying that, I also think that this has brought out how much it already was
Exactly.
with young people,
Yeah.
because I think the mental health and stuff, how it affected young people and how many suicides and stuff were not going mentioned and everything else.
No, it's right. Nothing was mentioned.
And I think
they keep it
because of COVID, it's now coming up. So that's another thing that COVID has brought out. So
a lot of mental health issues. I mean, it's ridiculous.
You've got to find the
all
positive
people
sadness and the
that-
darkness of what we're going through, and I think finding that is something to help all of that, because my nephew has been very, very bad with depression and everything else. So, you know, a lot of my family have suffered with depression and everything else.
It's like me. I've
And
been
mental health is
suffering
such a big
since
thing.
2020.
And I think it's just been so poo-pooed and overrun and it's ignored, whereas now this has brought it to the forefront of, like, you can't ignore mental health, because mental health is the well-being of humanity and also spiritually, because
and more needs to be done. This is a problem with all around the countries. Mental health is not made aware as it should be. I mean, fair enough, cancer is a terrible disease, but that's all you hear. Cancer this, raise cancer this. Mental health, nothing.
But if you go back to the war times, none of this was around then.
No.
We didn't live as long.
It was basic survival back then.
It was basic. Everything was basic.
And a lot of people that had mental health, they shoved them in a thing thinking that they were loony. In asylums thinking they were, oh, you're disturbed, you're not normal. And now it's become, obviously, and it's such a big thing now.
I would have probably been burned on the stake for a witch or something.
Me
you know, it's the waiting lists are huge.
Oh yeah. Oh
And the
my God.
self-harming, it's done, you know, in secret. So it's not until they take off their
Mm.
clothes
Yeah.
It's
that you
definitely
actually see
highlighted.
it.
I literally thought, and in the end, I rung them up. I said, I'm telling you now, if you don't help my daughter, I'm going to find her dead. That's
Yeah.
how I was. I was on the phone. I said, look, she's lost her dad, for Christ's sake, she's lost him to COVID. She needs the help. She needs to be
And it
taught.
doesn't
And
help
it's,
for any of us
No.
that have lost someone to COVID because it is in the news every single day.
exactly.
Now, if anyone has lost someone suddenly from a heart attack, from an accident, from a sudden thingy, whatever, or explosion, it's on the news for a day, maybe, if you're lucky to be on the news.
Exactly.
Or
But
cancer.
COVID has been for the
It's-
last, what,
it's-
2 years now?
COVID has been there now.
Tearing open the wound.
Yeah.
And it's like we can't
Get
heal
peeled off.
until it stops.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And until the COVID deaths stop, until the COVID cases stop, we're not going to be able to move forward really properly.
No.
It's going to be in our face
Yeah.
all the time
Oh,
because
God,
it's on
yeah.
the news all the time.
And we've got new variants coming.
We
so
have to wear
it's
masks because of COVID, so that's always going to be a reminder.
a reminder, yeah.
We've got to have boosters. It's going to be a reminder. You know, and all of the variants are going to be a reminder. And then you've got to go for all these things. So
It's
for us-
constantly in our head every day. Every time you turn a new, it's COVID, is COVID, is COVID, is COVID. And it's every day. It's just not.
and I think that's
Going.
No
what people.
break.
I think that's what people
And
aren't
it's-
realising of how
yeah.
many different dimensions it
Dimensions
actually
of it,
affects,
yeah.
and it will affect
Mm.
for how long and
Yeah.
how many years it's going to affect it till you could actually start to move on. Because if you lose someone to anything else, it doesn't matter what, even if it's a sudden death, you don't have that in your face.
Yeah.
Constantly.
I remember years ago when at some point I don't have children. And at
Neither do
some point
I.
I wanted to have children.
So did I.
Yes, you
And,
would-
and then I realized I
couldn't
couldn't
have
them.
any. Yeah.
So and I was like, oh, there's someone here who helps raise the little children and the babies, and oh, there's someone who's nurse, and then it was like literally all in my face, and that's of course
Yeah.
what you are experiencing too, and I totally get it, and well, it's one of the reasons why I'm doing those videos like this, for
Yeah,
instance, and because I believe it's so important that instead of keeping silent and keeping it to yourself, that you speak out about it. And
Yeah, I do
if
believe
people
that.
don't hear you, that you just keep repeating yourself, knocking on doors until someone is prepared to listen to you, which is basically why
I was on the television news. I was on the news.
No,
I've
I
actually
wasn't.
posted one on my Facebook. It was on my stories. I've been on news, BBC News, Sky News. I've done so many interviews.
Well, I asked for all of
When
that,
Keith
but I didn't get
died, when Keith died, oh my God, I'd interviewed. I was on the radio stations. Oh my God, I was getting phone calls
But I did my
every day.
I did grief videos on my Facebook, and I also posted them on my support.
Which were pretty good, actually. What you did,
I did them from the first month, not the first month, but when I started realizing if I didn't do something, I was going to take my own life. I did a grief video, and I think I'm up to like the grief video 10. I have done another one since, which was only been a few weeks ago. Which you don't know that. I haven't posted it.
You didn't tell me.
No, I didn't tell anyone. But I've done about 10 grief videos now, which has been over the period of time since I started since I started my group. And I did them the first time I did it was to show people, because people was just ignoring it and people were just thinking it was just nothing. And it wasn't that long since I'd lost Trevor, and it's like, really, do you want to go through this pain? And I did them every time, and it must have been every month. I can't remember, but I'd done quite a lot to start with. It was like pretty much every month, and then it started to tail off and that. And I did do another one a few weeks back. I think I've still got it on my phone. I will show her afterwards.
So would you
Um,
say that every time you do a video that a little bit, just tiny little bit of the pain subsides a little?
yeah, because to me, doing a grief video, it's basically I'm saying how I feel. It's saying how and what's happening, what grief is doing, how it affects you, and what time frame I'm at. And that basically you're not going mental. That this is how it feels, and it's not bad to feel this way at this time. I'm still here, I'm still doing it, but it's still hard. And I have only just made another one, but I didn't post it because I was a little bit drunk. But
So is it on in Instagram or on YouTube? Where do you
no,
post it?
I only do it on Facebook because I'm not on Instagram really. I'm on Instagram, but I don't really follow Instagram.
Okay, well, let me know later on, then I'll add the Facebook link.
Yeah, let
Yeah,
me know.
add me. Yeah,
Or you can send her the videos.
well, they're all on Facebook
They're all
anyway.
on
I can
Facebook,
send
yeah.
you them anyway, but I don't know if I got 'em. I think I've got them on
trying
my
to
phone.
find them on Facebook.
So
This is
Yeah.
the
I'll put
thing.
it in the description because I'll both leave it on Instagram and I'll create a video to
Yeah,
put on
I can send
YouTube.
you the link to the widows group because I'm happy for that to be shared worldwide because so many people now I've had good reports of I'm so thankful for this group, and the reason I set it up is because that there's somebody 24 hours a day that's going through the same thing. So if you're awake like we were all awake all the time, crying our eyes out, we wanted to talk to someone and we didn't want to ring our friends or our family because they're like fed up with talking to us about it all. You needed to speak to somebody who was like, going through the same and understood it. So that's why I set the group up, and I think I've probably got more American people on there
Yeah,
than
you've got a
UK.
lot of Americans, yeah.
I've got a lot of
Yeah,
American.
because it's a bigger country, so
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah.
So yeah, that's why I actually created the mini course Start to Speak Out Now, so people don't hold back. And
No,
why I was thinking about doing something, especially now during the holidays, because it
it's
must
gonna be
be hurting,
yeah.
not being able to spend Christmas time for the people in the US. Of course, there was Thanksgiving, and now everybody is happy and cheerful and lights and
Well, because for some
okay,
some
that's
people
nice,
it's
but
their first Christmas, isn't it? Some people it's their first Christmas without them. For us, it's our second.
Second.
Doesn't make it any easier, but for this year, I'm celebrating, hence the tree and the decorations.
And I am because of my granddaughter and obviously Ellen.
But
So
this year,
I'd
I've
love to
decided.
hear tips and tricks how what you come up with or have come
Yeah.
up with.
Yeah, I think this year we've decided that we're going to embrace life and we're going to do it for our husbands because that's what they want us to do, and they want us to carry on living how we did, to a degree. Obviously, we're a shadow of the person that we were. But my husband loved Christmas. He loved lights. He was all about Christmas. And last year I didn't have Christmas. So this year I'm going to do it. Not I'm going to have a really good Christmas. I'm going to go to my new friends.
crackers.
I'm going to go to a new friend that I've made over here. She's invited me to a lovely mansion house for a Christmas dinner. So I'm going to go there with two other friends that I've made, which are they're all single people with different issues. One is a cancer sufferer, one is an MS sufferer, and the other one is I don't know what you call it, but she didn't want to go out of house or stuff, and she's the one with she's the one with the mansion. So we're all going to hers, and I've met them, and I've met all of the friends that I've made here through a group called the Nextdoor app. I had the Nextdoor app in Kent, but it weren't like that. I didn't have that opportunity there. But since I've moved over here, everyone's so much more friendly, and I've made so many more friends from it because people are wanting to have friends. And she's playing with her Christmas present I bought her.
Look at what she brought me for
The
Christmas.
nutcracker.
Nutcracker.
Oh, that's
How cute is that? She bought me
But
it for Christmas.
it's not 25
with a
days till
crystal on
Christmas.
top of it. I want to give Coral, by the way, a huge hug too. And I don't know if she wants to come and do a live too. You're always welcome. Just
Oh,
saying.
Coral, you've done well. You put up the tree.
But you didn't put your tree up in the front room, did you? No, you put it in the lobby. Why isn't it in your front room?
No room?
Make some room.
We're going to come
Front
round.
Room, woman.
I'll
How many
tell
more
you a
times-
little secret.
I'll pass you over. I'll pass you over. Here, it's your phone.
Hello.
I'm going to pick up the Christmas tree from my mom and dad and going to put it in my space.
All right,
So,
yeah.
I'm going to get rid of the one I got, which is a very small one. And that one is a really old one. I believe it has gone across the ocean from Indonesia.
Yeah. Hello, Celine.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Her
Yeah,
tree's
we know all
lovely.
about cats, and
Look at that.
don't put the balls on the low end of the tree. If you put them up high, it's good for pets.
Yeah.
And they're plastic balls, so
No.
excuse.
No, they're glass.
No, they're all glass.
They're all glass.
Well,
I bought
if you
them
have
all
a
this year.
Make sure that you put the plastic balls at the bottom.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the glass ones up.
Cats. She has 7 cats. 7. Oh, God. I have one granddaughter. That's bad enough.
That's not having a
Hey.
kids. That's kids.
Ladies, I think it's time now we're
Yes,
a little bit
it's-
on a more cheerful note to
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
say goodbye to everyone.
Yeah, it was lovely talking to you. Yeah, you too.
Yeah, you too.
Been really lovely.
And I really want to thank you for being so open and honest about everything. And I really hope people will watch this episode again and again and again, and
Yeah.
also
I hope
tell
so.
others about it.
I hope so, because it's nice for people to see
I hope they
how
watch it and they
other
share
people
it.
coping with,
I
you
want
know.
them to share it to other people.
Yeah, so we can share it on Facebook, because once she does the YouTube, we can share it all around on
Okay,
Facebook
yeah.
and stuff.
Well, because one, because I want everyone to know, but 2, because I don't want our husbands to be forgotten ever.
No, that sounds good.
Nobody's
Yeah.
just a number.
Joe is such a big help when it comes to hashtagging. So I'll make sure
I've
that it's
actually
edited
taught
on
her
YouTube as well, and then
I
we
don't know
should be
that.
able to have
Oh.
people actually watch it and
Yeah.
get the message across. And of course, if you want to do a follow up, or others who want to talk about it, then
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone wants to
know.
talk about it who's
Yeah,
struggling as
message
well?
me and I'll add you to my Facebook, and then if you want me to send you my grief videos, I will. You can see the difference from my first one to now.
To now, yeah.
yeah, that's nice. When my mom passed away, I also I just looked at it today, earlier today. It was like the first day without my mom and without my dad, and then it's day 10 or day 30, and
Yes, yeah.
I left the house. It was this week or last week, and it was that same moment again. That's like, okay, yeah, I'm saying goodbye, but my mom isn't there. And
No,
normally I would record those
horrible.
videos,
Horrible.
and this time I didn't.
I
Yeah.
still sometimes wake up in the morning and go, do you want a cup of tea? And I go, no, you're not here. Do you want a cup of tea? But he's not here. And it's
Yeah.
like, oh, no, it's not here. Why am I asking? It's little things like that, and it's...
And I'll still say goodnight when I get in bed.
Oh, I do. I always talk to him, tell him I love him, and, and it's nice to still be
And I
able to
think
do
you
that.
still have to. Just because you can't see them doesn't mean they're not there.
Exactly. They're always around us. They're everywhere. When
And
you
they are in your heart too, and it's you can't just make it as if they have never been there. They've been so much part of your life.
Exactly. So they're there.
Mm.
You can't see them, but they're there.
Yeah.
It's that feeling, and you can sense around.
But it's
and
no different from you living in Romford and me living here.
Well, no, exactly.
I know you're there.
And for those who are still around, always tell your loved ones you love them, even if you have arguments. And it's
Yeah,
horrible.
my children, even Coral knows.
Life
My
is
Ellen
more
will
precious.
constantly tell me where she is. She always, and she's, I love you, Mum. I love you, Mum. Always, it's like, you know, and I'm so lucky to have my kids like that, you know, very, very lucky. I'm very lucky to have my kids to appreciate life and appreciate me
Why
and
can they
respect
not
me.
appreciate you?
I know. How can they not appreciate me because I'm so lovely?
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
So this year, what I've said I'm going to do is I'm going to send all these Christmas cards, and I'm also going to send them to people across the world. So if you send me your addresses,
I will
both
do.
of you and possibly Coral too,
Yeah.
and so I know I'll be posting some to the US, and to Canada, but I would be happy to do so to the UK
Oh,
too.
that'd be so lovely. Thank
I
you.
did that last for the candles.
Yeah, that'd be lovely. Send me your address too. I'm going to send you a
we'll send
card
you
as well.
cards.
We'll get a nice card from me and her. We'll get you a lovely card. You send me your address.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, especially we were talking about the depression and anxiety with all the people being so lonely right now.
Exactly.
I don't know about you. We have curfew, sort of curfew over here. So non-essential stores are closed at 5. Essential stores are closed at 8. And you can still pick up food, but that's about it. And of course we are.
I couldn't even imagine being at Christmas on my own. Oh my God, I think, it's just because it's normally a jolly time for family together, and there's so many people out there. You've got the homeless people as well. They've got nobody, all these people on their own, and it is so sad, and it breaks my heart. It really does, because it shouldn't be happening. Yeah, everybody should have somebody.
We was all like it last Christmas.
But we was all like it, yeah, exactly. Last Christmas, I was so depressed. My Christmas was horrible. It was because it was the first Christmas.
So maybe we can get a plea out there if you know people who are alone during the Christmas time.
Oh, last year, me and my daughter, we actually did goodie bags. We did like toothpaste, toothbrush, wipes. We did a gift voucher to get food, and that's what we did. We distributed to people that was starving, had no food, and that's what we did. And I bought a load of blankets from charity shops, so I could give them a blanket as well, so they're warm. And that's what we did. Yeah, we did that last year, because losing someone and realizing that you are not with them, and then it makes you think, oh my God, these people that are homeless have got nobody. How do they cope? You know, and it's just weird. Like sometimes I'll be out and there'll be a homeless person asking for money. I don't give them money. I go into a shop and I'll get them a sandwich, I'll get them a crisp, I'll get them a couple of drinks, and I go, there you go. And they're grateful. You know,
that's true.
It's nice to do things like that, you know. It makes me feel good, you know. And it's just the way, you know, it's the way I've been brought up, and it's the way I brought my kids up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because we go to restaurants, if we go to a restaurant, we give the people that serve us, we give them tips, because that's how they earn their money, more money, through tips. They're working, they're standing on their feet, they're serving you. So you should give them something back for working. Because my daughter worked in a restaurant, so, you know, and it was hard work. It's not easy work. People think, oh, they're only so. It's really, really hard work for them. Very hard work. And they deserve the respect as any other worker. Now, whether you're earning £1 million or £5. It's, you know.
Well, let's see how we can support one another, and also those who might be strangers to us. I don't know whether it's with a cup of tea or with a smile or with a card. Coral, I'll follow you too. And like I said, I'll make sure to send out some cards. I believe it's, it's more
Yeah.
timely than ever. It went down, the number of Christmas cards, and now I'm like, this year I really want to send people, give them something that they can touch, that
Yeah.
they know they're not alone. So
Yeah, definitely agree. Yeah.
I think everyone needs to hug each other more.
Mm.
yeah, I agree. So here's one big bear hug to all of you and to the both of you and everyone.
Yes,
else.
yes,
Whether
a
right
big
now
hug.
or later.
We love you.
Mwah.
Mwah.
Mwah. Big heart for the heart. Heart for you.
Aw, yeah, that's so cute. Well, I'm going to get some rest because I'm a house guest here today.
Go home tomorrow. I'll go
Today?
home in today. Yeah, it's 3 o'clock here.
6 hours.
In 6 hours, I go home.
I drive in there.
I'm gonna be like,
Well, be safe. I actually drove here in the evening, so I could stay here overnight, and then tomorrow I can do my things on the keyboard. And,
That's all
hopefully,
right.
we're working on the Christmas.
I'll
song,
probably chat to you tomorrow or later on anyway. I'll see how you.
so, we will.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably won't be able to sleep for a couple of hours anyway.
Probably won't. We're still sitting up
We never
talking.
sleep.
We never
That's
sleep.
the other thing. We don't get any sleep anymore.
No, 2 hours. She knows because me and her
Yeah.
sitting chatting all night, don't
Yeah.
we? Don't we?
Well,
Yeah, I'm always like, you're up.
Yeah, we're not
What's going on?
All night. We're all night, ladies.
oh, we'll have a threesome.
Yeah. Okay, so again, big hugs
Bye.
to all of you.
Thank you so much for
We'll talk
tonight.
soon.
You talk soon. Bye.
Bye bye.